Welcome to Hope for Everybody, a channel that exists to highlight people and places that are all about providing hope to people in need. Check out today's episode.
My name's Chandler with Hope Prison Ministries, and I'm here with Anansi. Anansi, thanks for being with me this afternoon. All right.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate you. So, give us, I know we'll fast forward through a lot of this noise. You went to prison for murder when you were young. How old were you? Were you 17?
17.
17. So you went to prison for murder when you were 17, and man, you got an amazing story. A coach, your football coach, Jeff Dixon,
That's correct.
saw you on the news. He said you hadn't shown up, and he saw you on the news having been arrested for the murder.
Yes, sir.
And he and his family kind of adopted you
Correct.
and loved you.
Yes, they assimilated being a surrogate family toward me. In the situation, they just was like, I don't know, they were touched. God touched them. They felt moved,
When I first heard this, I don't know if you knew this, I characterized this as The Blind Side in reverse. Right? Did you see the movie The Blind Side yet?
Yes,
Have you seen it?
With,
So Sandra Bullock, right? Sandra Bullock talks about the Tuohys, Leanne and her husband, I can't remember her husband's name, Leanne Tuohy, that is played by Sandra Bullock, plays Leanne Tuohy. The Tuohys adopted this young man, and of course there was some controversy. They didn't really officially adopt him, they just kind of took him in their home. And there was some controversy over the fact that were they really doing it because he was going to go on and be an NFL superstar and all that kind of noise and stuff, right? Which honestly is ridiculous because they were wealthy in and of their own right. From what I understand, they owned like 50 Taco Bells. They weren't hurting for money. They didn't need to do this for him, right? They did it because they just felt touched. But the point is that there was nothing like that with you because you weren't going on to the NFL. You went to prison, right? For a long time. How many years did you end up actually going?
21 flat.
You served 21 years in prison on a 40-year ag sentence.
Yes, sir.
And this family, Jeff Dixon and his family, stuck with you through all that.
Yes. I mean, there were times, even myself, when I would be like, this is not the norm, So I had my doubts myself, and I know that was nothing but the devil, and they would always reassure me like, we're not going anywhere, every year. And there was people in prison that knew my situation, and were like, any year now, it's like, dude, get ready, brace yourself, that was kind of sad, but I ain't dared that. Jealous because they were doing more for me than some of these guys own
Family.
Yeah. So some of those guys in there were like, this guy, he don't deserve all that, man,
And you didn't, right?
I felt like Paul,
It's the grace of God, right?
Yeah,
That's what the grace of God is.
And it just drew me closer. Like I said, man, God is real, man. And then I would go to people in prison like, look at my situation, Look at this family. This is a Caucasian family from the suburbs, and look how they're doing me. That's love. Y'all don't, y'all see it? Get off the other stuff and look. And it moved some people, and I was glad for that, and they're glad for that. Guards, inmates, miscellaneous individuals.
Did you ever see the movie when you were in the heart of Texas?
I don't think I've seen that.
So the heart of Texas, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, is about a white family and a black gentleman. And one night the white family was coming home from a sporting event, and they stopped on the side of the road, and for whatever reason the little girl Joy jumped out of the vehicle, ran into the road, and a truck hit the little girl and killed her. And they didn't know who had done it. And a few weeks later, they found out that it was actually one of their best family friends. It was this black family that they had actually befriended and had known for years. And they had helped them for a long time. And the man who hit it, the father of the family, he didn't even realize. She's a 4-year-old little girl. He said he thought maybe he hit a little raccoon or something. He didn't know what had happened. But they found the blood, of course, and the girl's fragments on the bumper of the truck, you know, and so they knew it was him. And they were going to prosecute the man for manslaughter. And the father, his name's Grove Norwood, in fact, came forward and said, no, don't do this. I know this man. This was an accident. And so they didn't prosecute him. But more surprising than that, when it came time for the funeral, the Norwood family asked for this man and his family to be on the front row, seated with the family at the funeral, after the man had just hit and killed their little girl. And then they found out that the home of this family that they loved was in horrible repair. And so Grove had a brother who was a builder, and he had done some building, and they raised the money and they built this family a new home. And Senator Dan Patrick heard about the story and created this documentary. They were going to do a full-length movie. They ended up just making it a documentary, but it's called The Heart of Texas.
That's something else.
And yeah, and so what happened was, after people would come up to Grove at the church and they would say, we just had to come see that you were real, that you would do this for this man, right? And so, you know, Grove was like, well, how'd you hear about it? Where'd you see the story? What church did you see it at? No, we saw it in prison. Grove went on, long story short, Grove went on to form the Heart of Texas Foundation, and he's responsible for the seminary at the Darrington unit. He's the one who's put the seminaries in prison. And all of that came about through the death of his little girl. And it was just an incredibly heartfelt, moving story. Here is a very similar story where this family just took you in and has loved you. And all through your incarceration, more than 20 years, but even more than that, when you get out, they didn't leave you alone. They still didn't leave you alone.
The expectation, you already know. Like,
that'll be the end of it, right?
Right.
Now it's going to get hard. Now you're out. So it's easy to love you from a distance.
Right.
Put $20 on your books every now and then. Maybe come visit you every now and then.
Yes, sir.
But now you're going to be free. So now surely is the time that they're going to cut you loose and be done with you.
That's a strategy.
But they didn't do that.
No, sir. They were on the ball with me. From pre-release to the halfway house, the transit.
Now, we don't want to name names, and I don't want to talk about the last program you were in, but I do want to say they had found another place for you to go.
Right.
I assume they found that other place, right? So you're at this other program, but you had been in the system for years and had some untreated medical issues, right?
Yeah.
You had been in the system for years and had some untreated medical issues, and you went to this other program and you physically could not work.
That was semi-true.
Right?
But then, I was maximum risk.
Yeah, that too. So you had the physical issues,
Yes.
but then you also had the monitor issues of being out on parole, maximum risk assignment, SISP they call it, super intensive supervision program, where everything has to be mapped out, planned out, right? So you're free now, you're in the world, but you physically have these medical issues, you're not able to work, and you have the monitor to deal with. And this program was one of the types of programs that basically the way it pays its bills is through the labor of people under its care.
12, 15 hours a day.
Is that right? concessions, right?
Concession venue.
That's the way this ministry supports itself, right?
Yes, sir. Global Life, AT&T Stadium.
Globe Life Stadium.
Dickies.
Yeah. So this particular organization, the way that they support their ministry and their organization and the way that they provide the resources that they do is that they basically use the men in the organization for labor. They use their labor, and then the proceeds that come from that, let's say selling concessions at the stadium, those proceeds or the commissions that come from that come back to the ministry or the organization as a donation. But the people receive nothing from that except for your room and board, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is the way another organization operates. And this is something that Hope Prison Ministries has determined it will never do. We will not exploit those under our care and make money off of the backs of the people in our program ever. This ministry will fold. I will go under before I ever pimp somebody out selling banana bread on a corner or putting them at a concession stand, stadium, selling concessions for me.
If you're liking this content, don't miss out on future episodes. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Now back to the show.
That is not going to happen. That is not what this ministry is about. This ministry is about helping people become independent to the best of their ability and helping them support themselves. And if they can't, then we're going to do what we're supposed to as the church and as the ministry. We're going to help them. We are not going to use people for their labor to profit ourselves. That is something we will not do. And so this organization would not do that. They said you can't work, you can't function, you can't live here. Right? So you went back to the state-funded halfway house.
In Houston, yes, sir.
In Houston. Now, Jeff, you had been in communication with me, and he was trying to get you into our ministry, but before he could finish that process, they shipped you back to the state halfway house in Houston, right? Mm-hmm. And since I didn't know you, and we didn't have a pre-existing relationship like I do with most of the people that come to the ministry from the prisons, right, I wanted you to have some skin in the game. So I sent you some books for you to read books, take notes, write summaries, just like you were going to have to do when you came here, right?
Yes, sir. That's what he did.
So we sent you those things, and they didn't always connect, and I still wasn't sure about your level of commitment, but basically, Jeff sold me on taking you in. Honestly, bro. Jeff and Dr. Newberry are the reason. God, of course, ultimately, but God used them to say, hey, give this brother a shot. And they raised the support to bring you here and raised more than the support you needed initially. But we're beyond that now.
Amazing.
We're beyond the initial support level. We're beyond the extra support they've raised. But you're still here because you haven't broken any major rules with us. You've done curriculum. For the most part, you've done the things that have been asked of you. We've had no major problems, so we're not about to put you in the street just because you can't pay. We may have to do some things long term. We may have to help you get on disability. We may have to do whatever, but we're not putting you in the street because you can't pay. That's not what we do. So we've allowed you to come here and stay, and you've been able to do the curriculum. Talk about the curriculum. What did you think? I think you finished all of it maybe. Talk about the curriculum, what you thought about it, what you've done to date.
The curriculum is very informative, because it was going into specifics, hermeneutics, and the different denominations and the origin and history, things of that nature that I really didn't have the knowledge of coming into the ministry. I thumbed through the Bible a little bit in prison, but the curriculum goes in depth on certain things, and I thought that was cool.
Life skills too, right? Yes. How to manage money.
financial, marriage, raising kids with the Christian, with undertones,
Parenting.
overtones.
Yeah.
Parenting.
All those things, right?
Yes, sir. What's his name? Tripp? No.
Paul Tripp.
Paul Tripp.
Paul Tripp, big provider of the curriculum. Did you like Paul Tripp?
Paul Tripp was good. He was
Yeah.
that was like half the videos.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very good at applying scripture to all of life. That's why we like him. Anger management, family, parenting, money, everything. Yeah.
I like
Very
when
good stuff.
The videos you had where they had the different celebrities, athletes.
Yeah, that was a Paul Tripp one. Yep.
That too.
Yep. Well, good. What do you think is your favorite part about your time here at Hope Prison Ministries so far?
Just being.
What do you like the most?
Being, for one, you have rent houses. I don't want to put you out there, Mr. Sandler. A lot of these other places are the state funded. It's nothing like rent homes. You're in a facility, bunk beds everywhere. It's 1 million people in one place. It's that.
Was that facility you were at last time, was that like that?
Yeah, it was a similar
Open dorm kind of situation with bunk beds, very much like a...
Yeah, and it's not like being in a rent house. The fact that those other places, you're gonna catch the bus to get where you need to go for the most part. So the fact that you have the Lyft, Uber agreement and drivers and vehicles to personally chauffeur us wherever we need to go, that's amazing.
Let's talk about that. We talked about the fact you had the untreated medical issues. And when you first came, how'd you get here?
Mr. Chandler, he come pick me up. It was a Friday, I want to say. It was the evening time, early evening. So I'm thinking I'm going to get out the weekend or Monday morning, afternoon. They say Mr. Chandler's on his way to come get you now. Like, man, Mr. Chandler must really be what he says, man, what they say. We didn't get back till like 2 a.m. something like that.
3 or 4 a.m. Yeah, it was crazy.
3:30, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So we got the call, and Jeff and Dr. Newberry came through for you, and I said, well, let's get him up here. And they said, well, there's a deadline. He may end up having to go back to prison. And I said, no, we'll take care of that. And so I called down, and because Hope Prison Ministries is known within the TDCJ system, we made a phone call, and they expedited the paperwork and released him to us that night. And they said, but you've got to come get him now. And so I got in my car 5 p.m. on a Friday night and drove to Houston and picked him up and brought him back. And it was every bit of 2 or 3, 4 in the morning when we were done and got you situated. Now then, the next day, I came and did what with you? You remember the mess we went through? We went to one parole office because I thought you were going to be under parole one.
Yeah, Carey or McCart.
Yeah, we went to McCart because everybody in our ministry just about has been under the McCart parole one office. We waited at parole one, and they said, no, you're supposed to be at parole two. So then we went to parole two and waited, and parole two said, no, you're supposed to be at parole one. So we went back to parole one, but that was a godsend.
Right, because I was with Carey. And
You'd been under Carey, and they kind of had an opinion of you and didn't like you too much and sent you back, right? So we brought you to parole one, and we met with the lady at the orientation, who shall remain nameless. And I told her that I needed to take you to the hospital immediately because you needed serious medical attention. And the initial officer said, that's not going to happen. He needs to go home first. He needs to go to the house. You cannot do that. If you do, a warrant will be issued for him.
That's what she said, too.
And so I said, what's his new officer's name? And I was informed of the officer's name. And because we knew the officer, I said, thank you very much. Have a nice day. And we left. And then I just got on my phone and called the officer and said, listen, we need to get this young man to the hospital ASAP. And she said, Chandler, do what you do. And we took you to the hospital. And sadly, and yet perhaps rejoicing, that you were diagnosed with congestive heart failure.
Yes, sir.
And
smoking at the moment I heard that.
And you got some work to do.
Exercising.
Kind of changed up your diet a little bit on you. Put the word out on you. No chicken nuggets.
That hurt, and I went to like a taste shock.
No no pizzas, no more bread, pasta.
The effect it had on my body. I was really kind of the no tobacco, the no sweets like that, junk. You know, that's all I was taking in up until then. You know? So my body really, remember? I don't know if you remember. I was like,
but you knew
withdrawals or something.
You knew that was love.
Yeah.
Because you, for the first time, had somebody that took care of you like that. Besides the Dixon family in the ministry, in the free world, you had somebody that took care and made sure you got your needs met.
I couldn't do anything but have an attitude of gratitude. God is good all the time.
So we're grateful. I'm grateful for knowing Jeff. I think Jeff is an incredible man. And I mean, what he has done for you and his family has done for you, and Dr. Newberry, and it is nothing short of a God thing. It is nothing short of a God thing. And so we're really grateful that you've been here, and we're anxious to see what God does in the future. Who knows, right? We don't know, but we know that that you've got a place to live. It's safe. Right now, you have the whole house to yourself. We're going to fix that as quickly as possible. If you're watching this and you know somebody who needs a place, be sure to reach out to us. We can put you in with Anansi. But, man, thank you for being with us this afternoon. Thank you for taking a minute. If you could just tell the people, why should they support Hope Prison Ministries?
Man, like you said, Hope Prison Ministries sincerely wants to help guys out. You know, it's the opposite. It's non-exploitive. You know, and you all that have an inkling understanding know what he's saying and what I'm saying. You know, I've seen guys in there, no names, that like, whoa, you know, and Mr. Chandler refuses to give up on guys. For years, he'll work with guys where other guys in these other places, no names, they would have kicked him out the first week or month, you know. So God is in him just as well as like a Jeff Dixon or somebody. He's over the program. Hope Prison Ministries, give the hope, and hope gives back. He means it.
Thank you, Anansi. Appreciate you being here, brother.
Glad to be here.
If you'd like to be a part of the show and tell us your story, please visit us online at hopeforeverybody.com.